Who knew Neapolitan would look just as good on your eyes as it does in an ice cream container? Hi everyone, my name is Carrie, aka Glamonista08 here online, and today we are going to talk about how to create the perfect, simple, and easy Neapolitan-inspired eye look for the summertime. Something that's a little fun, has a little bit of color, but is still safe enough for my neutral babes out there. And something you can accomplish with just one product from Cosmetics. Get a little close up into the eyes so you can really see how we're feeling. This is the eye look that we will be recreating today, and I did all of the eyeshadow using one amazing palette you can get from Cosmetics, and that is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette. This palette is so absolutely gorgeous. It has 14 different shades that vary from finish to undertone to everything in between. So that way you can create a whole bunch of different summertime looks. This is just one of them. I'm going to take you through these steps, but please note that you can use all of these different shadows to create similar looks like this without using the same exact ones that I'm going to use. Starting off with blank eyes, I always like to prep my eyelid with a little bit of concealer. You can use your favorite, and then just make sure to set it with a powder. I use the shade Base in this palette because it's a really nice light matte that will allow for you to have a smooth surface for you to put the rest of your eyeshadows on, but also to make sure that there's no tacky areas and that you get the full pigmentation and power out of the colorful eyeshadows in this palette. After using Base, I then went in with the shade Incense and used this as a transitional color. I really like this shade because it's just warm enough to give you a little bit of color on your lid, but it's not so warm that you can't use it with other shades, so it's a really nice natural transition. After that, I went in with a smaller crease brush. The first time I used a larger crease brush for this transition shade. Now the next few eyeshadows I'm using the same brush, and that's really important because you want to be able to blend these colors together seamlessly. The next shade that I went in with is the shade Volatile. This was just slightly darker. It's a little bit more neutral to cool undertoned, so this really helps to create more depth, and I brought this out in order to really enlarge the eye shape and also to start to create this smoky outer corner that we're going to have. And it's totally okay if these steps are not super neat because we're going to cut the crease and clean it up anyways. After using Volatile, I went in with the shade Eccentric to add a little bit of warmth into this outer portion of the eye, and then I focused the shade Passion on top of that too, taking little pats of these eyeshadows because these are really pigmented. After that, I went in with the shade Soul because I wanted to start to create that like three-dimensional Neapolitan shape, color scheme thing going on. I basically wanted to add a little bit of color in the outer corner without making it too colorful, so I went with Soul because it is a really neutral cool undertone but light grayish purple. So I just used this to add a little bit more of coolness, and then I also went in with some glitters very lightly on the outer edge to just create more dimension. So I went in with the shades Rose Gold, a little bit of Celestial, and I even went in with a little bit of the matte pink shade in this palette called Love in order to again add a little bit of color but not too much. So at this point you have a lot of color going on, mainly in your crease and your outer edge, but again it's okay if it gets in the inner portion of your eye because now you're going to fix it. So now you just want to go back into your concealer and just use that concealer you used on your eye initially to cut your crease, making sure that you don't go all the way and you still have a little bit of area on that outer third of your eye. Go back to the shade Base and use this to set what you just put on concealer wise, and also to start blending that little line that you have between where you applied that cut crease concealer and all of the darker colors that you put on earlier. And then you just have to focus on the inner corner for your little strawberry ice cream look. And so I went in with the matte shade Love first, topped it off with the shade Wild Child, a really sparkly metallic pink, and then topped that off with the shade Dreamer, which is the lightest metallic in this palette. It's perfect for an inner corner highlight on its own right, and you could totally also use this to set the cut crease if you wanted a sparkly eye. So I love this shade. And then your eyeshadow is pretty much done. If you want to add more dimension and balance, you can go in with a dark brown shade in the palette like Passion and put this on your lower lash line, and then all you have to do is line your eyes, put on mascara or lashes, finish the rest of your face, and you are good to go. This is the finished Neapolitan Summertime Ice Cream Eye Look. Super easy. A lot of shadows were used, so I almost used every shadow in this palette, but it was so easy to blend all of these together and create this look, and it still took me no time at all despite how many colors I used. So it just goes to show that this is a really great summertime essential that you need in your makeup arsenal.